The Office of Legal Counsel's decision as to whether or not you can prosecute a sitting president, you had some pretty strong feelings of that, and they were reflected in your volunteered memo to the Trump defense team, your 19-page memo.
Did I discuss that?
You certainly discussed whether or not a president should cooperate with an investigation. You said at one point in summarizing the findings of Mueller that the White House fully cooperated. We know for a fact, and you've stated already, the president never submitted himself to what was characterized as a vital interview, an actual sit-down interview under oath, not once, and that his questions that were answered some 30 times, his memory failed him. So to say the White House fully cooperated that, I think, is a generous conclusion. On this Office of Legal Counsel, I would refer you to this volume 2 of the Mueller report, and on page 1, he talks about the whole issue of whether or not he was in any way restricted and what he could conclude because of the outstanding Office of Legal Counsel opinion on the liability of a sitting president. You dismissed that in your opening statement and said we asked him 2 or 3 times. He said that had nothing to do with it. Well, how do you explain on the first page of volume 2 that he says it had a lot to do with it? It's a reason he couldn't reach a binary conclusion on obstruction of justice.
Well, no, it was a prudential reason. One of the backdrop factors that he cited as influencing his prudential judgment that he should not reach a decision, which is different than citing the OLC, saying that but for the OLC opinion, I would indict.
I'm just going to stand by what he has written, and I ask others to read it as well. The last point I want to make is about Don McGahn. If you read the section here, pages 113 to 120, on Don McGahn's experience, the president wanted him to state publicly that the New York Times article was untrue, that he had not asked McGahn to fire the special counsel. McGahn refused, and there's some speculation as to whether he risked being dismissed or even resigning over this issue. And for you to suggest that this was some sort of a kabuki dance with Rob Rosenstein, I think the president's intent here was very clear. He wanted this to end. He told Lester Holt, going back to the issue that was raised by the chairman earlier here, the reason to get rid of Comey is because of the Russian investigation. I mean, over and over again, this president was very explicit, and it certainly is very expository in his style. So I don't understand. Let me ask you this in conclusion, my time is up. Do you have any objections? Can you think of an objection of why Don McGahn shouldn't come and testify before this committee about his experience?
Yes, I mean, I think that he's a close advisor to the president.
Never,
and the president
never exerted executive privilege.
Excuse me?
He may have already waived his.
No, we haven't waived executive privilege.
Well, at this point, do you believe, you're saying Don, what about Bob Mueller? Should he be allowed to testify before this?
I've already said publicly, I have no objection to him.
And Don McGahn, should he be allowed to testify?
Well, that's a call for the president to make.
Well, he's a private citizen at this point, as I understand.
Well, I assume he'd be testifying about privileged matters.
Well, I would hope that we could get to the bottom of this with actual testimony of witnesses after we've taken another close look to Hillary Clinton's emails. Thank you.